Is it? I'm just I forgot to undercoat his shield earlier, so I'm just popping some undercoat on there. Be nice and dry when we need it. So, hope you've had a good week. People in the UK are enjoying the sunshine. We've got plenty of sunshine down the West Country today. Right. Let that dry now. Okie dokie. We have tonight, for your pleasure, this fine chap. Let's get his. We're stuck with the trolls. This is troll number 5. Apparently the most popular troll. And his name is Shaggah. SHAGGAH. Shaga. We should pronounce it as Shaga. Shaga. Seems a saga. Here he is. Evening, Coops. How's it going, mate? So, rather than going with the greenies and brown flesh, I thought it'd be quite interesting to make him kind of flesh colour, but work it up from a very dark flesh start. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with carnelian soon. We're going to... yes, I hope this week's been kind to you all. To be honest, when I first saw it, I liked the armoured ones. I was kind of indifferent to the non-armoured ones. Because obviously, you got the GW ones that very kind of that sort of orientated. And then these ones I didn't really wasn't really sure about. And then I had another look at it and stuff, and I thought, yeah, he's interesting. I think the other ones, in fairness, you could get away with using them. I mean, the last week's one was called Ogre, and I think he reminded me very much of a D&D ogre. Yeah, if I was going through my miniature collection for a D&D session, I think I'd have picked that for an ogre, you know? Which doesn't really make too much difference in the Age of Magic, because you can have whatever beasties you want. But this guy, I was looking at the kind of I had a search this afternoon on Nordic and Scandinavian trolls, and they're very much earthier, I suppose, is the word I'd use. So it's like they've got like flowers in their hair, and they're all sort of very naturey. So I figured, well, okay. Because Colin's done his usual nice, dark, kind of grim, darky kind of style that Colin does so well. So I thought, okay, I'll do something different. So, for flesh colour, my first thought was ginger hair. But I might change that to, I was also thinking about doing it green, make it look sort of very kind of naturey. We shall see when we get there. But first of all, let's get this base colour brown. So we're building up the flesh tones. We usually go up to the rose-based ones, which is this yellowish pink we usually start with. This is the one next to it, so it's a very deep reddish brown. So we've got a few layers to build up, but I thought on a big miniature, it's all about those nice kind of blends going up nice and gently. Yeah, so hello to any traders looking in that have gone to salute. I salute you. For those about to salute, I salute you. And anyone making the long trip up to London in the morning to have a wander and salute, I salute you. So this one is, I think I said, yeah, I did say it's code, because all the trolls are code troll 1 through 16, I think. Obviously the single digit ones you have to put the 0 in, so it is 0 to 5. But okay, searching troll on there. Search engine should sort you out. And I believe they're still £10. They were earlier when I checked. I've got no reason to believe they've had any tariffs put on them or anything. But we're not going to go into that. So, yeah. Dog snoring. Everything is right with the world. There's been some allegations against Pirate Rich and Pirate Rich Island by the Beast. Actually, it was by me as well. The Beastie Boys website went down the other day. And they put up a post on Facebook, and I couldn't resist it. And I put that I'd sent a broadside, and then sent a picture of a pirate ship firing off a broadside. Yeah, it's to be done. They take it all in good part. And I believe Lord S has sent a hitman after me already. Right, so that's the base colour. Put on his tail. He's got a lovely swishy tail. Troll with a tail. How good is that? The base, as you notice, is a little bit different this week. I've done the ordinary pumice I use, but before I put the pumice on, I glued a couple of lumps of grey slate down. And especially this time of year, you can, from garden centres or other shops, you'll buy bags of slate for the garden, and it's worth buying one and sticking it in your shed, because at this time of year you'll get them for a couple of quid. And then I just have a box in here, pick out the big bits, boom. Always make sure you don't stick it on at the end and not paint it. Weirdly, if you don't paint it and just use the ordinary slate, it doesn't look real. weirdly. I'll explain once I get the... What should we do next? Let's get... I was going to go for grey fur, orange hair. I don't know yet. It might be brown fur, orange hair, or brown fur, green hair. Decisions. But whilst you're doing that, let's put the second coat of skin tone. We're going to the next one up is tiger eye skin, which is deep reddish brown, which is the second one. I'm going to work through all of them, so we're going to do some blending. So this one, add our medium to it. And then anywhere that's not a valley, or like up underneath the fur there. Ah, ahoy, shipmate. I'm going for a Nordic style troll this evening, Ben. I looked up Scandinavian and Nordic kind of folklore this afternoon. I thought this boy has got to be, yeah, he's got to be. I didn't want to do him like pale green or anything stupid. He's got to be. I'm working this up to a nice flesh tone. My first thoughts were I was just saying the Kubla is my first thoughts were to do him flesh with ginger hair, but I'm starting to think all the pictures I was seeing were like very naturey, so they had very green, leafy, alive hair. They're part of nature, aren't they? So I was thinking about doing him with some green hair and take it up really bright. It's certainly going to be a paint job that's going to split opinions, I think. People are either going to like this one or hate it. Ah, Karen. I am not. I was just before you come on, I was saluting the people that were going to salute. And to any of the traders that may be tuning in, that's sitting in there or sitting in a bar after setting up, I saluted them too. So it's a double salute. I did book a show in the week to go to and get a stall at. The next one is starting next one. I think it's the 10th or something like that, and is Legionary in Exeter. So that'll be good fun. The dog is knackered because it was hot and he had a bit of a run around this afternoon in the heat. Not too hot for him, but I hope this sound. I've put the microphone in the right place this week and hope the sound's okay. We're not crackling. Can I get a sound check, everyone? I think my voice was overloading the microphone last week and everything was crackly. Cheers, Karen. So far, so good. We keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, so this second brown I'm using, I'm only leaving the very deepest, darkest depths of any of the valleys we got, all right in against under there. You see what I mean? That's going to stay that first dark brown. So you start shifting the tones up. And it's tempting to leave him like a brown colour as well. I think that works on this miniature rather than the greeny brown. Yeah. He discovered our local lake is actually, he was running around with his friend who's a border collie, and he discovered that the lake is actually made of water today. It's the first time he's actually been brave enough to venture really close, and he thought, oh, you know, that looks of water. I think I'll drink some of that. That's A, stop him drinking the lake, and B, stop him jumping in. It's inevitable, it's going to happen. See, I like these reddy brown tones. Yeah, I thought, well, a little bit of it ain't going to do him any harm, but he tends to be a bit of a gulper when he gets going. I was starting to sort out my web page a bit more, my website, and I went through my phone to obviously upload some photographs of minis, and I discovered I had 5,500 images on my phone of miniatures. So I managed to narrow that down to 4,000 now. Yeah, I think the Germans did breed them with otters. Or was that Ottos? I'm just making sure that I don't leave too much of the very first coat shown, if you know what I mean. Because we really want it just in the darkest areas. I was going to talk about why I painted my slates undercoated and then paint them grey again. It's all to do, and Karen would be better at explaining this to me, so watch one of her videos, is scale colour. So if you put a real rock on there, because it's real, and you're doing fake shading, dream big, build small, DBBS. Oh dear, Ben, tell us more. Don't leave us there. Yeah, so I was there, scale colour. You probably all know this. If you leave the rock on there, just as a normal rock, as a real one, it kind of doesn't look real because the shading you do on the miniature is scale shading, so it's not real shadows. So that will pick up real shadows and make that look weird. So your best bet to make it look real is to paint it. Oh, that always makes me laugh. It shouldn't do because it's actually proper thing scale. Look it up online. There's some guys that explain it really well. Oh, that's supposed to be me, isn't it? Yeah, scale colour. Yeah, we're good. We're all good. We're all good. We're playing around with this lovely troll. Right, so Ben was delivering an empty artillery shell to shop after work. And while thinking about it, put it on his desk. We did that with a hand grenade. And a rocket launcher. He used rocket launcher. Oh, man. Yeah, it does get... We went to... It was at the pub, though. When I was building one of our old trikes, we decided we were going to go for a military film. So we went and met this guy who shall remain nameless. We met him in a pub, which is always a bad start. And we said, "Oh, we need some like camo netting to go over the frame and stuff." And he said, "Yeah, I sell loads of kind of army surplus stuff." I went, "Oh, cool!" Because I'll come come nip round my house, we get some. And we said, he goes, "Well, do you want anything else?" We said, "Yeah, okay. What we got?" And he drew the one-shot disposable rocket launcher, or is it a grenade launcher? I'm not sure, but they look like a drain pipe, don't they? And he had one of those that had been used, and thought, "Oh, that'd be good." We went that into a tool thing for the back of the trike. So we've got one of those, and he went, "Do you want a grenade?" That's exactly how it said it. "Do you want a grenade?" And we kind of both looked at each other, and he looked at us again and went, "Do you want a live one or a deactivated one?" I hope at that point he was joking, but yeah, he brought us this grenade. And this is a strange thing for you, and people that have handled the ones with, yeah, he did say that. He said that. I think he was just winding us up. But anyhow, when they take the charge or explosive, or whatever you call it, out the middle, the thread in the bottom and in the middle is exactly the same as a thread on a gear stick. So we put it on the gear stick of the trike, and it's exactly the same thread. Now, that was a VW trike, so whether it was just a German VW thing and grenades fit on the... I don't know. I don't know if gear stick threads are universal. Who knows? And just I've not been drinking. But yeah, so we had a grenade for a gear stick, a gear lever, which looked very cool. It was the British grenade as well. Yeah, smoke grenades. Right, so our next colour is a strong reddish brown, topaz skin. I thought I better get some painting done while I was laughing. Right, so wore it down as normal, and we're gonna start building our first highlights. Yeah. So we won't go right up into we'll just pull that further back. And he's done some nice little warties to sculpt. So now we're not going to touch any of the that first brown. We're staying all inside. And we do little strokes just to start building up texture. Yeah. Yeah, it was that one was a V-dub trike, so all good fun. You get stopped by the police all the time because they just want to have a nose of what it, what is it? And then they'd always say, "Is that a real grenade?" And you go, Yep. Yes. It's not probably a good thing to be angry with as it is an artillery shell, is it? Although, in fairness, once you had the artillery shell in your general vicinity, it's not so bad. I can't tell the story of when my dad was in the army, but if you ever come to a convention and you want to ask, you can ask about the artillery shell my dad and is it colonel or general? I think he was a general. It's just a bit patchy there, so I'm just gonna block that bit out. The thing is to say with these trolls is they're so lovely sculpted you can actually speed paint them really if you wanted to. Just to grab the speed paint and bosh these out really quick. But I think big miniatures like this on the table top will get people looking at them, so show off your talents. Just leaving our very darkest areas of that original. So we're only going where that last coat is. That's the basic rule of thumb when you start layering. Is just go inside the layer from the last time. And if it starts to look a bit weird, just adjust your layer a little bit. Well, now we're going to lay all this in properly, but he has got a shield. But I like to paint it properly. Yeah, so in between all the computery stuff from the website's been keeping, it took me a whole morning this morning to sort out the postage. I couldn't work it out. Every time you put an item into the basket, it added £5 postage on everything, and it took me ages to work out how to do like a free postage for spending over 50 quid. So it's like, yeah, you get the drift. But yeah, it took me ages and ages. So in between that, this week, I've got most of my commissions done. So I indulge myself to keep myself happy because doing computer stuff doesn't make me happy. I painted a orc warlord on a giant great white squig because painting orcs makes me happy. It does, it really does. So just leaving that very deep tone in his ears. We're still covering quite a bit of the previous layers because we're going to go quite high into the tones of this one. This is where, even though you've got 6 in like a double triad, as it were, is usually 3's enough. Because if you leave big gaps in your layers, you don't get that smooth. Yeah, I've painted batches in flat. I like the red, doing red orcs as well. That always looks cool. I don't think I've got any in camera grab. I've done some red orcs with face paint on. That looks stunning. Like, now the dog's decided to scratch himself. Get back to sleep in a minute. Remember, wherever that light's on, it's going to be the highest tone, so you can really, anything facing upwards can really, you can take most of the original layer out. And then when it looks underneath, look under there, then you've got your nice dark areas. He's got quite big scars on his belly, this guy. I think I've got the, so let me grab the orc. Let me see if I can settle the dog down. Right, let's see if we can grab the orc. I did as well. I think he's got Moz Grog or something. There he is. Okay. Yeah. It was quite good fun. Got some nice chipping on there. All these effects and that, I mean, I know some people don't like mixing their stuff, but it all floats across. Some tattoo work for you. Got to do tattoo on the trolls last week, and some nice gory effects. It's like the dog was just being an idiot and trying to eat his bed. You go on here like, I'm going to lay on this, Daddy, I'm going to be nice. Yeah, so there we go. Right, so back at the ranch, we're on the next skin tone up, which is jasper skin. These are now getting onto our proper sort of skin looking tones. They work up nice. I mean, since we started with that colour, half an hour into, this is our 4th skin tone. So again, thin it out. We're going to start thinking about where the light's in, so we're just starting to use it a little bit more sparingly. Only ever going inside where we've already painted. So if you watch his nose, then inside the last colour, top of the cheekbones. because these are more like highlights now, so we're using the very tip of our brush and we're just sort of dotting it on, making interesting highs. So the edge of his chin there, his bottom lip. Across the top of his ears. They're quite heavy there because they're right in the daylight. And the edge of his bottom edge of his ear will catch it. I did think about doing a very light flesh tone, but I want to use this with my wood rosies. Now the wood rosie from Ragnarok, I don't know if you saw the video where I've painted those. I painted in. Did I paint one video? Can't remember. I think I did. I painted them very. They remind me of pics in the story, so it's like I wanted to get that tattoo look to them. Also, I looked at them and I thought they look a bit leprechaun. So I went ginger hair on them all and made them very kind of blue woady, you know what I mean? Look at the videos, you'll see what I mean. I thought this one will go with them. So he's probably going to join my... This one is it's a Ragnarok miniature from Gripping Beast. This is their new releases at the moment, which is the Trolls. We did one last week, Karen. It was the armoured one last week, which is a bit more sort of Lord of the Ringsy film, where this is very much Scandinavian, Nordic. Mr. Go For It, how are you? They're on there, Karen. If you look up on the Gripping Beast site, Troll 01 through to 016, 16. It's got the whole range on there, and they're £10 each, and they're metal, so they're quite cool. And these Nordic looking ones, there's 3 different groups of them. There's the heavily armoured one, which we did last week, and then there's the unarmoured versions of those, and then there's these guys which are very much the sort of folklore, Nordic, Scandinavian, what have you. So I've followed those scar lines on his belly just to make him look a bit strange, but they're there. So we're looking for any areas that are facing upwards for this highlight. I just thought it would be a bit of a change. As I said, if you look on the website, there's an example on there painted by Colin, the sculptor, and he's done him in sort of the very. He's got very realistic, dark kind of Middle Earth, I suppose, sort of grim sort of look to him. And I thought, well, it's no good painting it all the same. Let's see what he looks like this, as we do. Oh, yeah. I'm still undecided about the hair colour at the moment. I don't like to completely pan these things out. I like them to be a bit spontaneous, you know what I mean? Hey, we just work with the flesh tones up first, and then worry about the hair afterwards. This might be the last highlight, actually. No, we've done Jasper Skin. I think that was the last one, yeah. The last one was Jasper Skin, so Tourmaline Skin, which is a pale reddish brown. I think this is going to be our last highlight, I think. Because this is quite the one above this is really pink. So we're going to go be really sparing with this highlight. The less is more. So we're going to go along that top edge of his ears, just dabbing it down, moving on, dabbing it down, moving it on. I think there's actually a little bit of sculpt on this. You could actually make that fur if you wanted to as well. And we're going to do a little bit on the edge. Good shout, Ben. What is everyone working on tonight? I think Rich Moriarty's in London, isn't he? Because he's going to Salute tomorrow, but I believe he's gone up tonight, I think. Rich Moriarty. Just a little bit on that forehead. A little bit on that eyebrow. See, I'm just tapping the brush down to make it a little bit more texture. Point of his nose, right down the centre, and right down the edge, there and there. Are you online tomorrow, Karen? Plug it, plug it, plug it. So it's about all right. Okay. You're keeping it all to yourself, Karen. I get you. Nice. Bob Yoga. Fantasy night. Be careful where you say that. The tidy up of the studio continues. We found lots of strange fare, as it were. Yeah, if you send them on any photographs and that, you got stuff, you can always send them to me on Facebook. Is probably the best one, and I can put them up on Facebook. I like sharing stuff on there. It's brilliant seeing other people's pain, isn't it, Ben? We like that. So this is just working around all those areas we've got paint on. I'm just looking for any of the areas we've already painted. There, that's the wrong way to look at it, Ben. Everyone puts a different eye on the subject. So you paint something and you look at it and you think, oh, why didn't I think of doing that? And that's how we all improve. We all help each other along. And you can always find one thing in something that makes it special. You know, that's what art is. It's not, oh, not, it's not as good as this, it's not as good as that. It doesn't matter. It's all just different. You get to try things like this. It's neat. You did. See, you're a award-winning painter, Ben. I'm not. Yeah, but even that's good. It's we're all our own harshest critic, and that's what drives us on. I'm always a little bit wary when somebody tells me how good their stuff is. That always makes me a little bit wary. More wary than somebody says, "Oh, it's crap," and actually, you can tell they actually believe themselves. Some people are just fishing for compliment and stuff, but I love the way he's sculpted his leg with all these wrinkles in it. This is the highlight you pick the wrinkles out on. So I'm just painting straight little lines across them. You got the odd warty bit. I'll just pick that out with this highlight. I quite like him in this flesh colour. I'll often put something in the light box thinking, oh, I missed that, or oh, I wish I'd done that different, or oh, what did I use that colour for? Oh, why isn't there more purple in it? I don't think this one's going to get purple in it, Karen, sorry. There was purple underneath the stones. He lied through his teeth. That's it. It's failed as a paint job now. So that's the point where we're at our highest highlight, and we look at it and say, is there any? If we're looking top down, we should see most of our highlights, and as we turn up, we should see more of the darker tones. See under the arms there? Around that way, it's more the highlights. So I think we need a few more on top there. Because that elbow and his ears and his elbow can have the majority of light falling on them. There we go. Now, if you do just 3 skin tones and your blends aren't as close as that, what you can do at this point is grab your middle tone, water it down with your medium, and wash him over. Now, I'm not going to do that at the moment. The other thing you could do is take it right up to another highlight and then put a skin wash over him. That's if you want that brown kind of leathery look. That sort of people that have lived near the seaside a long time. Karen, you'll know what I mean. Wandering around there in the sunshine. There's the guy at the harbours, and they're always walking around with their shirts off, and their skin turns that nice brown leathery look. My mate in Brixham has kind of got that skin. you'll get that on there if I take it up another tone and then put a flesh wash. But I'm quite happy with the flesh looking like that, in fairness. We might put another tone on it yet. Okay, so with that done, I think I'm going to go for brown fur pelt rather than grey. I think grey is going to be too light with the light skin. So I'm going to go with a brown. And what I'm going to do, we could either cheat and use a special secret weapon, or we can do it the slow way. Shall we do it the slow way? Let's start with oak brown. And I'll swap into a knackered brush now, because we're going into this rough fur texture. I'm going to destroy any nice points. Yeah, sure. Let me grab a little. Let me grab a miniature. I've cleared them all off my shelf. Hang on. Who we got kicking about? Oh, there's a good one. He's a bit dusty because the studio has been almost the shelves have been cleared. Okay, I've got Ulf the Quarrelsome, which is another Griffin Beast one. He's quite a tall miniature. So he's a big wall. He's quite a big wall. It's probably not good sized comparison, that one. The normal sized miniatures are not about. What have we got? There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to find a normal size miniature. I found a Griffin Beast plastics. That'll give you a better idea. I've got a Griffin Beast plastic. There we go. Let's get it straight to the camera so you can see the height. There we are. I think that's a better kind of showing of their size. We had him against a horse last week, didn't we? So he was like the horse come up to his chest height, but that's the size. I'd say I'll stick the rule in. We go that extra mile, Adam. I've even got a ruler. There we go. So he's about 45 mil. So they're not massive, but they're kind of how you want them, aren't they? Unless you want a really sort of massive troll, kind of cinematic Hollywoody one. Where was I? I was just starting to put the fur. Usually I've got like a million figures on the shelves, but we're halfway through the shelves now, so I'll take some more to the next show. Didn't really want to put the older stuff on. I've got a clearance bit on the website as well, so eventually we'll have I'll paint some rare old miniatures and put them on there, I think. Got a whole kind of I've got a whole Tom Mears elven army that's screaming paint me at the moment. It's all pre-slaughter as well. It's got about 4 chariots in the box still. My wife says, sell it. the chariots are like £40 each. And I said, well, I could paint it. Now, given the pouches and that a undercount of this brown as well, but we just obviously won't take that in the same direction as the fur. We're taking it slightly different. Now, this brush is pretty knackered. I used it earlier to scrub the palette out, so it's absolutely pooped. Bird scene. It's quite lovely. It's like a quiet little moment there. It's weird. There's very few miniatures. I love painting them. I really do love painting them. There's very few miniatures I get really, really attached to. I've got a big old red dragon that my friend gave me. He passed away, bless him, when he was so young. I mean, he passed away, and he was younger than my youngest son is now, and he gave me a miniature back in late 80s, about 89. And he told me this dragon there was only 50 made, and I could never find anything about it. And like last week, I found all the information about it. That dragon will never leave me. In fairness, not because it's a brilliant miniature, but it's that attachment to it. And I think that's the way these are. They're kind of little moments in time. But most of them are. I get the photograph, and that's good enough for me. I did like there was a chap that bought a miniature from me at Newbury, and I remember people as well. This is the great, awesome thing. He picked up Attila the Hun beastie miniature, and he was in front of the store, and he was picked up, and he was just staring at it. He'd gone really quiet, and I thought, is he all right? And I started chatting to him, and he put his hand up, and he goes, I'm having a moment. I thought, okay. And yeah, he fell in love with the miniature, bought it, took it home, and I think that's just awesome. It's an awesome feeling. To me, it was just I enjoyed the painting the miniature, but it was just another miniature. But it's nice to have that, you know. I suppose that's, I mean, talking to people at shows is brilliant. It's I've really, really been enjoying doing the shows, because talking to people, you sort of realise there are people I care about. I get really, really protected of them when they're going to. If I've sold something to someone, it'll be wrapped up really well, because I'd hate to think that something I've made has been damaged in some way. So that freaks me out. There we go, we're still thinning this, and we're just letting this oak brown with the matte medium in it. The reason I went for the brown over the grey in the end, because I did want to do that grey, is um, I thought to myself the flesh tone is going to look better with this brown. And I'm quite happy I did. And then the jewelry's still out on the hair at the moment. I could do one of those survey. I've not done a survey for ages, have I? I could just ask you guys. I think the two hair color. There was a third option, as to go for like a really sandy yellow kind of, make it look a bit like it's been limed. But I think that's the wrong way to go with it. So, but the first two options were a really bright orange, and then I was looking at the pictures of the Nordic trolls, as I was saying earlier, and they all seem to have like hair made from plants and grass and flowers and shit. Oh, pardon me. I said stuff there, not... Yeah. So I thought, should I give him green hair? Yeah, yeah. Earlier on, when I spoke to Darren from the Beasties, I said I'm going to do it in a flesh tone with orange hair. He said, yeah, brilliant. But I'm just thinking of a really bright green, almost like an electric orc skin green. You know what I mean? That's very hard for me to do at the moment, Ben. A lot of the artwork I was finding it was done like in pencil or ink. You know what I mean? So you're getting like black and white. I just realised there's some rings in his fur, so I'm gonna have to pick them out. So I don't want to get too much brown on them. Mm. Yeah, it's right in the middle. But I didn't notice these other little rings that are going all the way. I don't think they go all the way around. No, there's 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. I will have a look, Ben, when we're off air, which will be too late for this troll. Yeah, I think it was like the overall vibe I got was the trolls were very natural sort of colours. It'd been really nice if he'd have sculpted some flowers into his hair, wouldn't it? That'd been awesome. Yeah, just watering that down just enough for it to sit into the details without really clogging them up. The closer I get to doing his hair, the more I think green may be an option. You know? It's the best thing to do. It's like his spear. I usually like the yellow spear. I'm thinking about doing a nice dark brown. So I use this oak. I'm watering it right out. Just to keep that natural kind of woody kind of feel to it all. There we go. I'll just thin it out. Hopefully some of the undercoat will show through. See how it's gone a bit mottly there? I want that. Get under there. There we go. Right, uniform grey. It's quite a dark grey. Just a quick, easy step while we're washing around. I'm just going to paint those. So I'm going to thin that grey right out with the medium just to make it into more or less a washlet. Got any spillage from that brown, just thicken the paint up just that one area. I want that. I want that first grey to show through just a little bit. We're going to put a wash over that anyway. Probably use the tone down from this, the darkest grey. This one's just a touch light, but we'll sort it out with the wash anyway. That was another idea I had for the hair, was actual grey. I noticed a lot of them had like a white shock of white greyish hair. So there's lots of options really. I say we should go for green. And then if we don't like it, we can cover it up with the other colour. It might just look a bit weird. That's what I was going to do. Exactly, Carthago. Yes. Yeah, I was going to dig the. I got a load of Durgar already painted in the show boxes, and I was going to put it up online as a complete Durgar army with trolls. But this one goes with the Durgar lovely. Although the armoured ones will as well. I'm not sure if this will go better with like the barbarian kind of horde look. It'll work, won't it? I'm not sure about its hair colour. Let's start with a green and see what happens. Start with angel green. So this might go completely wrong here, guys. I've got no idea. We might have to go back to the drawing board on the hair. We'll soon tell you. Oh, before we do that, we'll paint the back of the shield with that oak brown. I really like those Durgar miniatures. The archers would. Oh, what am I doing? Grabbing the green. Ooh, that's chatting at the same time. Just get the wet back on there early as you can. Then wick it away. Dry your brush. Wick, 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 wick. I'm going to start the other side. Right, I'm going to use the brown. This is that oak brown, just watered down. Rather than the green wood shield. Probably actually not. You're better off not painting the dippy bit where the glue's going to go. But hey, leave that like that. The other side of this shield is very much off camera. There we go. I had to put a little extra cut. There's a mark for the cut, but I just got my knife in there and made it a bit deeper. Okay, let's put some green on there, see what happens. Now the idea with this was to start with this dark green and take it right up to a kind of almost like electric green. But we're going to know pretty quickly. Let's start at the back here, where it's pretty easy to cover up. Don't know. I think we're going to have to work it and see if we like it, basically. I've never done it before. I was probably painted my first troll in the early 80s. But I thought of it this afternoon when I was looking at pictures of trolls, especially these kind of Nordic-y, Scandinavian-y ones. All very nature focused. I think we might get away with it. I'm washing this green out very thin. So it's going to be quite dull. But I think I'll use this troll. I would use this troll with the wood rosies, I think, to maybe the other trolls with the Durgar. Yeah, when I was packing up at the last show, I noticed how many Durgar I painted when they first come out. I just painted loads of them and just put them into trays for the show. And I've painted about 6 points of Durgar, so I thought, well, I shall put them on the website as an annex. This is a gorgeous miniature, guys. Really is. So when I first saw it, I wasn't over and out. I'd always had big rubbery D&D trolls in my mind, but this is a proper. It looks like he's going to get really, really pissy, doesn't it? It really does look like he. Oh, and his tail. He needs green tail as well, doesn't he? Well, I'm liking the green so far. And it's a different look. And I don't think everyone will like it. But hey, I warned you. Right, we can use some of these flesh tones we've got on the palette for Mr. Deadman. I'm going to start with the topaz skin, I think. So we're going to start halfway up what we used on him. Do love the Age of Magic. How are you getting on with the rules, Cubes? Have you ever had a good read? Okay, let's start doing the fur. So we went oak brown, we missed tree ancient and go to dryad brown. Yeah, once you play it through, they're very, yeah. The real learning is with the battle boards and the different universes as they call them. Each book's slightly different. It's a dryad brown. Let's go back to our knackered brush. I'm just throwing some weird shield on the floor. That was plastic shield, so hey. This is dried brown. I'm going to water it down a bit, but I'm not going to have too much on my brush, and I'm just going to start picking out higher areas, and I don't want this to go into the dips. So I'm trying to brush real light. Just letting the brush drift across the high areas. Pardon me. I'm not putting too much paint down, so it's like brush should last you quite a long way. Fill him up again. Good work. I'm just letting this dryad start picking out highlights for us on the fur. So the trick is let that brush just dance over the high detail and leave all the stuff in the valleys alone. We can even go under here onto the. See, it's what I call it overbrush. There's probably a technical term which Karen will probably remind me of now because she's done it so many times. Is an overbrush is like a dry brush but with kind of wet brush, but not too much paint in there. And if you keep going, it actually turns into a dry brush. I'll add a bit more medium to my brown. Load it and load the paint. I'm not going to put any brown onto the leathery bits. I'm going to use a different brown for those. That's what we're going for. I thought it was a bit big for a wolf. So we're going to take it up a few shades. If I didn't want his face to be such a focus, I'd do that sort of, you know, where they get those really light rings of in bare fur. That always looks good. So now I was saying I'm just over brushing this now to just pick up the high details. If you go too mad and you start losing the darkness of the first layer, or you do it at a later date, you can drop a wash in there. So don't beat yourself up if it goes a little bit heavy. But you can really see on there where we've left the dark bit down the middle. Look at the state of that brush, Karen. Look at the state of it. It's the best brush to do this sort of work with. Do not use your good brush, please. Please, 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 please save your nice brush and deploy it where it needs. A bit on there, because I've scuffed it a little bit. It's starting to look interesting. Right, I'm going to go for. Oh, I was wondering if I'd do a copper spearhead, but I'm going to go. We're going to go gunmetal. Is that a full moon tonight out there? Would it explain a lot about how the dog's been today? But I might do this whilst I've got the rubbishy brush out. Very tempted to do our goldy, coppery, brassy look. He's got a generic, not silver look. If any of you spotted what the yeah, I was going to say, I thought it was last night, and it's I'll put a little bit of silver in there now. Probably need a little bit more later. I think it need edging as well. But hey, let's not worry about that for now. Because we've got a bear pelt to sort out. We're going to do fur brown next, which is the next one up on the triad. It's very reddish brown. We still use our rubbishy brush. We're not going to put any medium in this one though. We're going to use it straight because we want it to almost dry on our brush. It's on the wet palette anyway to give it a little bit of moisture. And again, we're going to go even lighter now. So those high areas now, we're going to go into and stay on just the highest bits inside them. And anywhere like under his gut there, I'm going to leave a known. So it like builds a natural highlight. So around the top of his leggings. I just want little tiny touches. Ever so light and delicate with your brush. On the front of his shin. So anywhere where there's a little bit of high, hit a little highlight in it. Not all over. Less is more. Again, I'm not going to go underneath there because it's too shadowy. I'm not going to go up under there. It's certainly going to go around here though. Yes, I told you I've been sorting my photos out, innit? And I got like there's about 5,500 of miniature pictures on my phone. And then, so I managed to upload about 1,000 to the computer to use on the website. And then there was 1,300 of my dog my pup that I lost before current boggins. So that's what, year and a half I suppose ago now. So I've got, you know, say 1,300 of him, and then there's 1,200 of the resident ship's dog. So I'm running this like more like a dry brush now. So I just want a little bit of that high tone in across his shoulders. And I'm going in that round. See how it's building up? I'm just aiming for that. It's quite flat on his back. It's quite nice if it's a little bit bendy, but it's quite flat. So there we go. We might as well put the last highlight on whilst we're there, which we're going to stop with Ruddy Umber, which is a light reddish brown. Yeah, I certainly can. So some of the videos of the past pups are a bit wrenching, aren't they? So yeah, we'll put this light reddish brown on, and we're going to take most of it out. And we're going to do like a very light dry brush just in the very highest area, so it's across the front there. On those edges. Right down the front of his loincloth, just on the front there. Just across his shoulders, and just on that bit at the bottom, maybe a bit on the edge. There's hardly any on my brush now. You can dry it on a bit of foam first, or whatever. There we go. So I'm happy with that. Right, let's have a look at this green then. Oh no, let's do the straps on his leg first. We do those in like a... Ooh, let's do it like tan colour. Let's go for... Oh no, let's go for some sort of olivey skeleton bone, maybe. Light olive. No, it's too light. Let's start with Tomb King Tan, a greyish olive brown. It's all sort of earthy colours we're working with, so this will all go in nicely. So we're an hour and a half in. Look, it's not bad, is it? We're doing all right. We're going to thin our paints with that, and then we're just going to there was a lot of paint carried in my brush there, but if you're a bit nervous about that, take a bit out, have less paint on your brush. It's good to practice your control with though. It's because I didn't swirl it enough on the wet palette to take the excess off the edge. There we go. Bit more medium in there. Get that paint thinned and flowing. There we go. Bit more medium in there. When I say a bit more medium, I'm putting like some in my brush. I'm not sort of putting drip after drip in. I'm just taking a bit of medium in the brush to keep the brush bristles moist. I just find it helps paint to flow off my brush. And the more it flows off your brush, the easier it is to do. Is to get it to go where you want it to go. You don't want to be fighting your own brush. But you don't want it so wet it just drops out your brush either. It's just practice, my friends. Practice, practice, practice. There's a string on his posing pouch. I'm thinking about changing it to this colour. Just because we can. There we go. Happy with that. A little bit stronger in there. Okay, now that metal's dry, we can use our black wash. This is when we mix up ourselves. I'm just going to pop that on that gunmetal. So if you want it looking old and rusty, use the strong tone rather than a dark tone. It's got some brown in it. And then we're just going to lay this over that rock. So we've already painted it a lighter colour. This is going to darken it down nicely and leave our high edges highlighted. Look, there we go. We're getting 3 highlights. because that slate's got those nice fault lines in it. Look, it makes it all look interesting. And you can even go back later on and put some moss on it and stuff like that, if you want to. And don't flood it out so it goes right into the brown too much, but just give it enough to do the job. Quite a bit, really. There we go. Just drop a bit onto the boss of the shield. I don't see this guy as rusty and as dirty as the other trolls, in fairness. I can see him a little bit brighter, if you know what I mean. Okay. So I think the guy on there should have like blonde hair. But we're going to start with like a dirty blonde of maybe, yeah, let's start with desert yellow brown. Oh, pardon-moi. He certainly looks different with his green hair, doesn't he? I was thinking about doing like this head as a redhead, but I didn't want it taking too much focal point away from the trolley. That was a bit wary, that one. It just popped off into there, so I'm going to quickly whip that away. And go back into a slightly different area. Let that bit dry out a bit. We've had the is anyone painting anything tonight question. So is anyone gaming over the weekend? I'm sneaking in a quick game. That's obviously not going to go to Salute. Maybe you're sneaking the game at Salute. As you see, I'm just watered that down with the medium just enough to let it flow. It's going to give us a nice dark blonde. Surprised no, I've not painted those yet. Let's get some gold. Let's get some gold going. Greedy gold. You know what's going to happen. Always does. Because I want it so tight in there, I'm going to have to use this better brush. Because what I want to do is sort of a bracelet on there, and I just want to paint that in gold as well. Okay. Yeah, I was a bit in trouble with the wife about the photographs because obviously there was like between the two dogs, there's like 3,000 photographs. And then she said, well, how many have you got of me? And I thought, oh, well, there's 5. And then we noticed that like 3 of those 5 are her with the dog. I did point out to her while I can see her. Just be careful with this gold. Don't want to. He's been collecting the talks, isn't he? There's more pictures of my motorbikes in my phone than my wife, and there's certainly more of my guitars. Yeah, I don't think I'm in a good books at the moment, in fairness. But hey. Shit happens, doesn't it? Okay, let's take the next layer of hair. I'm going to jump up to... It's quite difficult. What am I going to jump up to? We're going to jump up to green skin. And then we're going to jump across some yellowy greens and see how that goes. So I've got no idea. We might have to tone this down a bit. So this is green skin, which is 2 steps up. So we're going to leave that other green in the valleys and start taking the peaks in. So I'm looking to get a kind of spring grassland effect. That's what's in my mind as I'm painting here. I'd love some little flowers in the hair. He does look a bit like Freddie Mercury with that big mustache, doesn't he? Just painting a heavier amount of this one at the top, and I'm actually going into some of the valleys there. And then when we do his mustache, we're going to have to paint the top that was going to be in the highlights. It's that bit at the top there, and then it comes round to the edge, but not right up his nostril because that's obviously in the shadow. So that's the top edge. It's a bit like Space Marine edge highlighting. Again to the top edge. Okay. Yes. Yeah, he's got a bit of Ronnie Barker about him as well, hasn't he? Open all hours. What a great program. Nurse Gladys Emmanuel. Granville. Was it you and your Hungarian lust? Is it Hungarian? He kept saying he's half Hungarian. I don't know, I can't remember. That green is starting to work for me now, I think. Yeah. Or chase Granville on his bike. Granville would be like a goblin. And Snagger. Okay, so now we can ship across into the lighter greens. So I'm thinking of jumping into Emerald Forest, which is vivid green. Now we're going to have to be careful with these because these get very bright very quickly. Not thinned, I've just lightly loaded the brush. I just loaded the very tip. Let's try it on the tail first. The top edge of the tail. Just working around, just letting it touch the top edge, but not all over. Don't want it all over. Yeah, that's good. That goes. So again on the back here, we want to go anywhere. See, there's a bend up into the light there. So we can catch that, then leave the back edge. Just starting to work around his hair, just picking up the very high bits. Again, this will kill your brush, so be very careful. I don't care because these are cheap 60p brushes. So if I get one painted out of this, it's okay. But if you're sensible like Karen, use nice brushes. This detail's very sharp, so you will kill the point of your brush. So use your old brushes. You know what I'm saying. So I'm painting across the detail. Quite a scarcely loaded brush, so it's not got much chance of surviving really. Then on the front of his tash there. If in doubt, work the halo. You can go around and work in a halo. And that's kind of because you've got a round head. That's the kind of bits of hair that will shine. I think I'm going to dare to push another tone. We're going to go leafy green. We're starting to go into the real yellowy greens here. These are the dangerous ones. We're in the danger zone now. I say, if you take it too far, we can always put a wash over it and calm it down. Same again, we're going to load very tip of our brush up. And honestly, guys, I've got too much paint in there at the moment. Can you see? Look how bright that is. So I'm going to just brush some of it on the edge of my thing there. And then I'm going to come in. I'm just going to do the very few bristles. Just pick out a little bit of them and then move along. A little bit of them and move along. And nothing around the edge or the bottom. This is just a really yellowy green highlight. I'll then push another one. This is going to be it. So we're going to make sure there's not too much paint in our brush. And we're just going to hit the edge, move away, go lightly with your brush. I'm just about touching down on there. So it's like a miniature dry brush. I took most of the paint out of my brush before I got on. Just using that sort of odd one. It's like, can you see on there? I don't know. We're just letting the brush touch down just a little tiny bit, just on the highest of edges. Maybe a few lines. You just got to eyeball it, and anything that seems to be sticking up, just a little dab of that on it. Because if you go mad across this, it's going to look radioactive. That's as much green as we dare, I think. Jury's out on that one. I'll let you guys decide if you like it or not. It's like the big scar on his belly there. You could paint that in just in one flesh, but I just thought it was interesting to work around it. Okay, let's move on to the next bit. So we've done the fur, we've done the skin, we've done the hair. So next, let's get some more work on Mr. Head down there. Let's go up to the next toe. We started with that middle one. So we're just going to highlight him out with some. We're not going to spend mega time on him. I think different is a one way to describe it. I think from that further the distance, it really makes him striking, doesn't it? It certainly stands out. That's for sure. Right, let's get some. I'm going to grab some matte white. We need 1, 2, 3. There's 5 different greens in that. I'll be very careful of jumping the tones up too quickly because you're going to get a very harsh blend. Okay, we're going to go to my Psycho brush. Little Psycho brush. You can tell how old it is. Look, all the paint's cracked on it. They wear away and become really cool. Bit of load up with a bit of medium, and then we're just gonna sorry about that, guys. I was concentrating there. It's always hard to talk when you're concentrating. I'm picking out the mouth and the eyes with this. And I'm going to go back in the mouth and put some red in there as well. I usually paint the eyes on the poor deceased heads as well, but I'm not going to this time. I'm going to leave him alone. I don't know about white eyes or whether to go full red on them. I quite like that white. But first, let's get a nice reddy pink for that tool. I'm going to go for... let's use this wickedy pink. I think it's quite cool and quite sort of earthy looking miniatures. If you can do a couple of bright bits, it really kind of makes your eye travel around the miniature. So Cooper, when you paint yours, you're going to put the video back on and paint along. And go for the green hair. Right, we're going to grab the blick. Let's move that palette for a minute. Just load up with watered down black. I'm just going to give him some black dots in those eyes. There we go. Oh, where's that out? We can do our victory lap. Watch that out. Oh no, we won't do that there. You'd always do it at the end, really. Okay, let's have a look, see what we got going on. Let's paint some more brown onto the back of this shield. Just grab any of those browns, water them down a bit. That was a brown on there, so we're just going to go to the next one, paint the planks in. Or if you don't want to do that, I'm doing it because it's on the wet palette. What you can do is just run a wash in there. There we go. And if you want to do some practice on wet blending, is a good opportunity. So that's still wet at the moment. Let's grab the next brown up. I think it's fur brown or something. And we just run it inside that one. When that's still wet, let it all do a bit of a natural blend for us. You can see that on camera. So what are good paints to practice with wet blending is the speed paints. When they had the speed paints that reactivated, before they brought Speed Paint 2 out, I was just getting used to speed paint reacting again, and I was using it to do blends. You could actually make nice blends with it, and I was kind of gutted that Speed Paint 2 come out in a way. Speed Paint 2 is a better product, I believe, but I just got used to this funky way of using the first lot. It just goes to show there's always benefits to using something. Something don't go right, it's not always the fault of the product. I think sometimes it's not working right, so we jump in and so right, I'm going to grab some of the ordinary brown that I just noticed there's a little bit of white in there showing. So we're just going to get our darkest brown and just fill in those. I think it's around where we left that gold. Be fussy. Okay. So now that those strap-ins we used, what did we use? We used Toon King Tan. So we're going to jump up to Ancient Stone. Yeah, you had to be quite careful with the varnishes, didn't you? Yeah. I found the airbrush varnish I was using was fine, but I couldn't put too much on. It was like I had to put it on at a distance and like just very thin coats of it. Ancient Stone. So we're just going to use this to go over that strapping those legs, but we'll just use it like a highlight. So it's just going to touch down, move, touch down, move. Not going around the back of the leg. It's more on the shins. and the knot at the side. We're just going to touch the edges. And this bit here, we're just going to catch that bottom edge. The top edge is under his belly. That bottom edge is just visible, so we're just going to do the bottom edge. Probably just a touch on that one. Sometimes that's enough just to touch the brush on there, you know. So it's just okay. So I like that oak brown on his staff. We'll just do a quick. What we'll do is we'll get lots of medium and go into the what was it? Dried brown, and mix it with the edge of our. Just on the wet palette, I'm just mixing the two of them together so we get like a half oak, half dried kind of thing. And I'm making it really, really thin. I'm creating a mini wash, as it were. More like a glazy wash. So it's very, see how thin that is? I'm just gonna dab it along the top of that. I'm not going to go around the edge or the bottom, and then I'm going to grab some more medium and go into the actual dried brown itself, because that's still going to be wet on there with all the medium here. So then I'm just going to go right along the very center, just tapping it down and leaving it. So we'll end up with like a blotchy look on it. Or if you don't want to muck around with that, just grab some strong tone and go. But I've not used any tone on the rest of it, so I wanted it I wanted that dry look to it. Right, let's work on that face again. So we're going to go to our top highlight, and we get a decent brush. Dog is bored. So this was tourmaline flesh, tourmaline skin. I'm thinning it right out and doing some little cheeky highlights. He wouldn't really look like this, he'd look grotty and awkward, but just make him look like he hasn't been dead for too long. I'm not going to put blood effects on him because I think it'll spoil this one. You see how stones work now? That wash over it. If you want to get fussy, you could do a lighter dry brush over the top. But I'm quite happy with these, how that looks. Right, his leather pouch, where we stop with that one, I'm just going to grab leather brown for a quick dirty highlight on that one. Bit medium on that. I just want it to stick out from the fur a bit. I'm just going to go around the top. I'll highlight the flap out, that front bit. I think we're going to have to take it up another tone. I just want to take it away from that fur. So leather brown, and then we go to paratrooper tan. I think I got it out already, but hey. Really taking a dab into the wet palette. Not too much of that on the brush. Oh, pardon me. I'm just gonna take it. Oh, I'm really over that side of the camera today, mate. There we go, just around the edge A little bit onto the high, a little bit on the front. There we go. That'll dry nice. Maybe a little bit on that side of the flap. Just think where the light will check, because that's underneath his armlet. You see the natural shadow just hit it then? That's what we followed with our highlight. That's a really good example. I've never seen that work so well on the camera. So yeah, so his arm is shadowing that leather out, and then as it comes back, whoop, that's how we've done our shadow. I've probably put a little bit of high in there, if you want to be fussy. Okay, the next is Har. So we started with desert yellow. We're going to go to a wasteland clay, or are we? Or are we? You can either carry on up that, or you can jump over to the real yellows. The real yellow is going to make it very bright. So we're going to do another we'll do wasteland clay, which is the next one up, which will give us some, that's a yellowish brown. I'm just going to load the tip of our brush up. Because we're looking from the top, we're going to hit the areas we can see from the top, leaving the valleys around the edge of his beard. I think we'll stick with those yellows, because they're quite cool. Now we're going to burnt tough, which is a light yellowish brown. You can, if you want really bright yellow hair, you can jump into the true yellows there, but I'm going to stick with these ones. So it's quite muted, the actual miniature itself, so we don't want this being really bright. It's quite muted, even though we use electric green. So we'll just use that top bit and around the bottom edge of his beard there. There we go. I think we'll leave that one there. So he's done. So it's just his shield to do now. I say we stick it on and paint it on the miniature. Or you can grab one of my corks that are hiding in this box, or anything. Be handy if it had some bluey tack on it. Right, the trick with these is you've either got to lacquer the back before you stick it onto the blue tack, or get your blue tack. Other tacks are available. Are they? White tack is. Is it the same company? I think so. Okay, so what you want to do is make the blob of blue tack quite pointy like that, and then put the middle bit of the shield in, because when you pull it back off now, if you put any paint, you'll only pull the bit out the middle, and you're gluing that to his hand anyway, so it'll only help it stick. Okay, so we still got some silver in there, so I don't usually like edging shields in metal, because they should be leather bound. But he's a troll, so hey, he's a troll folio. So I'm gonna edge it in metal, even though probably the Beastie Boys will shout at me. I very rarely do this. I will still do that edge in leather. As I'm painting a troll, it seems fit into. I think there is an actual edge around the back, so once it's stuck on, I'll probably have to go back round once the glue's dry. Okay, shields. Well, let's see. It's a bit of a trick because we don't want it to be too bright because it's a very dulled thing. Perhaps we should do a black shield again. That's a bit of a bind. We could go for a really dull red shield. What do you think, guys? Let's get the black paint out, just in case I go black, and just paint a ring around his. Yeah, I was just looking at the. We could go. Yeah. I was thinking about, can we get away with changing, because we've got a lot of brown on there already. We could just go for just a plain brown shield, I think. Would fit it quite well. Always paint the edge of your bases, guys. Nothing rags me more than you'll see people paint a lovely miniature, then leave all that dirt on the edge of their base. Don't really care what colour you paint. You can paint goblin green if you like, or brown tan if you're that way inclined. But I've always liked it in black, and I think it helps the miniatures stand out on the table. The black, it sort of separates them from like green terrain, as it were. Yeah. I didn't want to go black because it was like, I've done black last week. So I try and do different stuff. I might have to sleep on it and come up with something funky and maybe do it in the morning. I'm seriously thinking about just doing like the our brown kind of special kind of secret weapon brown. Make it look kind of leathery. I don't usually have any trouble deciding on stuff, but this guy's giving me real jip tonight. I'm really quite. He's come out different, that's for sure. Well, I think I will think on the shield for a bit. And surprise you all when you find him on Facebook tomorrow with a really plain shield. I'm thinking of staying quite plain on the shield. I'm wondering if he needs a shield. If I'd have thought about it beforehand, I think I might have drilled that hand before and put a dagger in it. That's what I would have done, put a dagger, him holding a dagger going down. You would look good like that. Or maybe put a weapon in this hand and the shield in this hand. That would look good as well. Maybe add a mace or something. Oh, it looked like he was going to hit himself in the face. Sorry, Colin. I don't mean to try and read your images. Right. Yes, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave the shield till I've had a sleep, or at least a coffee. So I'm going to leave this one here. So let's have a look at what we got. This is Troll number 05 from Ragnarok from Gripping Beast. There's his Freddie Mercury Arkwright head. There's his swishy tail. And his funky green hair. And there's his half-done shield. Sorry. But yeah, for 2.25 hours, I think, you know, what do you expect? Right. I'm going to say thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure to chat to you all. We've got lots of things to say, haven't we? Well, there we go. Right. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, because I noticed that lots of people watching, they haven't subscribed on the watch back. If you could do that for me, that'd be brilliant. And to keep YouTube happy, if you could hit a like and a notification bell, because that seems to be what they want. Cheers, Cuba. And don't forget to check out Pirate Rich Plays, our sister channel. Some new footage going up there soon. Also, don't forget to check out my website. It's still under construction, still lots more to put up on there. That you can find that at piraterichpaints.square.site. And we'll see you on Facebook and X and Blue Sky and all that groovy stuff. So without further ado, I think that's adieu for tonight. If you're going to Salute tomorrow, good luck. Enjoy yourselves. If you're working at Salute tomorrow, good luck. Enjoy yourselves. And I'll see you through the week, guys. Cheers then. Night. Have a good weekend.